Republican candidates, what do each of you see as the most pressing issue before our country, and how do you plan to address it if you are the successful representative for our district?
Poverty. I'm going to mention these, but they're not in order. Poverty, ISIS, drugs. There's more than one. There's more to speak of. I mean, we need to put a handle on all of them, but there's more. There's more than one, because everyone has something that they're addicted to, whether it be food, whether it be some kind of drug. Food's not, it's an addiction, but it's not illegal. Drugs. Drugs pilfer through our streets. Drugs harm our children, our young adults, and adults. Like the gentleman said about Pioli. And then there's also in southern Indiana, in the 8th Congressional District, the bloody 8th, where a young baby was murdered, molested. Things like this we need to stop. And, by incarceration for a criminal act is sufficient. But if someone doesn't commit a felony and they have a drug addiction, we shouldn't lock them away and punish them as we do the mentally ill. We punish the mentally ill and lock them in prisons where criminals are. I have a problem with that. And I think that we need facilities that are locked down, that can help people that have mental issues and also have drug addictions.
Peace be with you. My name is James McClure. The single most important issue facing this country, as far as the federal government is concerned, is the national debt. Every other issue is dependent on this issue. It is morally and criminally irresponsible for the federal government to borrow $4 out of every tenant spends and shackle your children and your children's children with that debt. There's a simple solution to that problem. It's the Constitution. The federal government restored its Article 1, Section 8 boundaries, and only those powers were exercised by the federal government, and those extra constitutional authorities that have been usurped by the federal government were restored to the states and the people respectively under the 10th Amendment. Your issues would be solved in that respect, and the government would be functioning the way the framers had intended. The debt would be solvable at that point because we wouldn't be spending money on programs that we're not supposed to be spending on. We'd be empowering our local school districts, as one of the questions the Republicans answered. In general, you would be allowed to live your life as you see fit. You would be authorized to use your liberty to improve this country in ways that the government oversees you every day, telling you how much water your toilet can flush and what kind of light bulbs you can buy. This isn't liberty. This is tyranny through law and regulation, and it absolutely has to cease. I trust you to lead your life better than anyone in Washington can ever tell you how to lead your life. And as your public servant, as your representative in Washington, I will fight to restore your liberty and reduce the size of the federal government.
District seat, if you are elected, that will be able to change the workings of Congress so that it seems to complete the functions that it is supposed to do?
The first thing I would do is listen, learn, and act from each and every one of you in this room and throughout the United States and in Indiana. I will take your voice where you don't have a voice. It's proven that both parties, Republican and Democrat, are not listening. They're not listening, they're not learning, and they're not acting on what you want. And it's not about being a Democrat and being a Republican, it's about being an American, and about being a Hoosier. Because when it's all said and done, there's nobody there to say, is there a deer in our by your name? No. You're either a third, first, or you're a human being. We're all God's creatures. And the only thing that I can tell you is that I'll be transparent, honest. I will work hard. I will be diligent. I will be at the people's business and their agenda and what they want. And it's not going to be because some Democrat told me to vote a certain way or some Republican told me to vote some other way. I will not be enslaved by someone to try to deter me from the people's agenda. Thank you.
Well, Bob's right in the regard that you haven't been heard in Washington in 6 years. Todd Young sold your vote and your voice in Washington out for a seat on Ways and Means, and he's been lying and pandering to you ever since. I'm one of only 2 candidates of the 9 who are running for this office who have the confidence in their convictions to challenge Todd Young before he chose to run away from his record. In that regard, you can trust me. Go back and look at my record from last election cycle. I ran for this last election cycle because, again, Todd Young had to go. He wasn't representing you. I'm running on the same fundamental Hoosier principles that I was running on then. I have pledged as a citizen, when I am elected and working for you as your public servant, that I will spend as many hours a day as is reasonably possible answering my own phone in Washington. Because I think this is one of the problems that we have in Washington. The people that they go there with the best of intentions, they become insulated from the voice of their constituents. I want to hear your voice on a daily basis. This way you'll know I'm listening to you. You're not going to be a name and a check mark on a spreadsheet. You'll hear the reasons why I'm going to be making votes. You'll hear the sincerity of my voice as I'm listening to your concerns. This is important so that I stay your public servant and not a politician. I took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution as a member of the United States military and the Air Force and the Naval Reserve. And I'm running to uphold that. We're all raised with here in Southern Indiana, is how you make change by setting a proper example in Washington.
All right. Last question we have for you tonight. One of the major topics I believe, in the presidential campaign is the question regarding immigration and what we do with immigration and how we address immigration issues in this country. One of the sub-questions about that is that we have provisions and statutes that provide and constitutional interpretations that provide that a child born in this country is a United States citizen, and yet oftentimes now we're finding that to be the case of parents who are not United States citizens, and there's become an uproar regarding what to do with those particular types of families. What is your position in terms of immigration in general, and how do we start to address the many issues that are now facing us in the immigration area?
Amendment 14, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state in which they reside. That clause, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, was intentionally included in there and has a very strong meaning. That means if you are a foreign national and you come here and you have a child, that child is not an American citizen. It's quite clear. You can go back and look at the Ohio senator who wrote the original amendment and why he wrote the clause, and his original intent is quite clear. So birthright citizenship for foreign nationals' children is not the law of the land, and the Congress can specifically address this. I have personally called for a 10-year moratorium on all immigration until we solve the problems that we have here. There are a tremendous number of criminal invaders in this country. They have broken our laws, they have exceeded their visas, they have crossed our boundaries illegally, and they are a tremendous drain on our economy. American citizens are being displaced from jobs by the actions of this Congress through H-1B visas. This all must stop. American citizens have rights given to them from God, and the Congress should not be stepping all over them and empowering others in favor of their own citizens. Quite simply, we should make violating our own national sovereignty a federal felony. Then the people who are here illegally would self-deport because they would be unable to have jobs, or any other federal benefits. It's an easy solution. We don't have to go around knocking door to door. They'll leave. I guarantee if you don't have a job, you'll go somewhere else where you can get one. And I think those are one of the fundamental Jeffersonian ideals that I'm working toward is simple solutions. We don't need to write new laws. We need to limit what we have and exercise the existing laws, and they'll go home.
Well, I wouldn't be here if my grandfather, if his parents, because they're from Germany, so I wouldn't be here. A lot of us are not, a lot of us have mixed in us, German, Mexican, French, but a lot of mothers marry. And when they marry, they don't marry because of someone's race, because they marry somebody because they love them. And then they start a family. And then once they become a family, it means your child could be subject to be, because your husband's not from the United States or your wife's not from the United States, and your child wasn't born here, yet you were born here and you're an American citizen, your child will be subject to be somewhere where he or she would know nothing, would know nobody. I think that I would have to say is to have people come out of the shadows, get legal. Do what it takes to get legal. Learn our language. And pay taxes. And do what's right. Don't break the law. And stay here. There are more people that file for citizenship that know more about our country, our Constitution, than some of us that were born here. And they respect that. And there are people that, some people don't think that some people deserve to be here. But God didn't say that He didn't want us to prosper and to grow, and He wanted us to live free but yet love one another. And this is hate. This is not love.
Thank you. You'll give go ahead. Give the microphone to Mr. McClure. I think you answered the first question, Mr. Kern. We'll let him give his closing statement, and we'll let you give yours.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the Salem leader for hosting this event, and I want to say thank you to every single person who came out tonight. It is important that the electorate be informed. As I said, I am just a citizen, like yourselves. I was concerned about the future of the country and the way that Washington was operating, and that's why I stepped up to challenge Todd Young, because he no longer represented us. I'd like to mention just one or two specific events that would help you hopefully reinforce in your mind the idea that I'm the best possible candidate for you here in Southern Indiana. I worked with Republicans, Libertarians, and like-minded Democrats to oppose the Regional Cities Initiative when it came to Washington County. It was an Indianapolis boondoggle which stole $900,000 from every county. And I worked in the town of Clarksville to restore the Second Amendment rights of the citizens of Clarksville in their own town hall, opposing my own party and holding the Republicans' feet to the fire when they were elected in the following election cycle. I ask you for your vote as a private citizen. I need your support, and I hope that you will all think about me when you're in that booth in just 1 week. Thank you very much.
My name is Bob Kern, but for the name that you know, Bob Kern, May 3rd. I'm running because I want to listen. I want to be someone that's going to listen, learn, and act on your behalf. Learn from you guys. I started my run in 1996. I lost my first race. I was one of 9 candidates, and the wonderful Julia Carson, God bless her soul, is no longer here. I learned from her. I learned that you have to listen, you have to learn, and you have to act on the constituents, on what they want. You might not agree with it, but it's not your right to not agree with it. You just got to go with it. Because the people ultimately know what they want. I'm going to focus on things that matter to you guys. I have a website. It's Bob Kern 434indiana.org. Feel free to call me anytime, 24/7. I'm available.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, these are your two Democrat candidates with us tonight for the United States Representative 9th District seat, Mr. Bob Kern and Mr. James McClure, Jr.